Principal sir, all respected staff members and my dear friends. I am Prince and today I am going to tell something about a great leader. At first tell me that why are you studying? Because you have your own dreams and your own wishes. Mostly people study because they want to get success in their life, they want a job and after that they will fulfill their dreams. But in our world there are some pupils who work hard for their public, who work hard, who face a lot of problem for their public. Who just want to see happy their public. And today we are going to tell something today we are going to discuss something about one man of this category, and he is Nelson Mandela. To understand about Nelson Mandela, at first you will have to understand about apartheid. Apartheid is not a person, so don't be confused, because it is a political system and we all know it very well, because in our daily life we see many types of differences and this is also one of those differences. In the apartheid is a political system which spreads people according to their race. अपार्थाइड यानी रंग भेद नीति, ये एक ऐसा सिस्टम है जो कि लोगों को उनके रंगों के कारण अलग अलग करता है, या यूँ कहें कि काले और गोरे, श्वेत और अश्वेत लोगों के बीच में भेदभाव की जो नीति है उसे ही रंग भेद नीति कहते हैं. एंड दिस इज़ वेरी रॉन्ग सिस्टम एंड मैनी कंट्रीज एंड मैनी देयर पीपल सफर्ड फ्रॉम इट एंड स्टिल नाउ दे आर सफरिंग फ्रॉम इट. सो बिकॉज इट वाज अ रॉन्ग सिस्टम, सो मैनी पीपल्स ऑल्सो फोट अगेंस्ट इट एंड नेल्सन मंडेला वाज ऑल्सो वन ऑफ देम. ये एक गलत नीति है, इसलिए इसके खिलाफ काफ़ी लोग लड़े हैं और नेल्सन मंडेला भी उन्हीं में से एक हैं. नेल्सन मंडेला बिकम द first black president of South Africa in 1944 and it was the result of his hard work, not only of his hard work but the hard work of thousands and lakhs of peoples of that country. And after that, from that hard work, in the last, Nelson Mandela became the first black president in the first democratic elections of 1944. Actually, Nelson Mandela formed a party of ANC, African National Congress, and this party get 252 seats out of 400. And after that, he became the president, and he became the president after 3 centuries of white peoples. Means the white people's rule was still 300 years, and it was really a long time period. And after that, Nelson Mandela describes the day of inauguration. He says that it was a very beautiful and very sweet day, and on this morning, very many dignitaries from the world came to me to pay their respect for Nelson Mandela. And after that, Nelson Mandela says that on that day I went to inauguration with my daughter Janani, and he says that on that program, on that occasion, at first the D. Kalrak sworn for the second deputy president, and after that Thabo Mbeki sworn for first deputy president, and in the last I pleased to obey and uphold the constitution. तो नेल्सन मंडेला बताते हैं कि उस दिन जो शपथ ग्रहण समारोह था उसमें सबसे पहले तो जो डी कलरक हैं वो द्वितीय उपराष्ट्रपति के लिए शपथ लेते हैं, उसके बाद थाबू म्बेकी प्रथम उपराष्ट्रपति के लिए शपथ लेते हैं, और अंत में जो नेल्सन मंडेला हैं वो शपथ लेते हैं कि मैं हमेशा जो हमारा संविधान है उसके नियमों का पालन करूंगा और हमेशा उसी के अनुसार मैं कार्य करूंगा, उसी के अनुसार चलूंगा. And after that he gave an excellent speech, a greatest speech, and now we will understand every word and every feeling of this speech. उसके बाद वो एक बहुत ही सुंदर स्पीच देते हैं जिसके बारे में अब हम समझेंगे. So in the starting he say after extraordinary human disaster, he said the previous time extraordinary human disaster, because in that time people did not have any rights, any freedom, they did not have anything, their life was not life, their life was full of problems. So Nelson Mandela says it extraordinary human disaster, and after that he say that it is a newborn society on which every human will be proud. तो नेल्सन मंडेला कहते हैं कि पहले का जो समय था एक मानवीय त्रासदी का समय था, बट टुडे एवरीवन विल बी प्राउड इट बिकॉज दिस सोसाइटी इज डिफरेंट फ्रॉम द प्रीवियस सोसाइटी. इट इज अ न्यू born society, and in this society every people have the same rights, every people have the same freedom, so everyone will be proud on this society. After that, Nelson Mandela describes that we were outlaws by the white peoples. We did not have anything, any rights and any freedom. But today the time is changed, because today we have a rare privilege to host the peoples, to host the big dignitaries of the world who came on our soil. तो नेल्सन मंडेला कहते हैं कि एक ऐसा समय था जब हम इन सफ़ेद लोगों के द्वारा बहिष्कृत थे, लेकिन आज जो है वो समय बदल चुका है. आज हमारे पास एक ऐसा विशेषाधिकार है कि हम अपनी धरती के ऊपर विश्व के विभिन्न क्षेत्रों से आए हुए बड़ी बड़ी जो प्रतिनिधि हैं उनका स्वागत कर रहे हैं. And Nelson Mandela says that this is a common victory of three things: justice, peace, and human dignity. Because before this time, in the previous time, peoples did not have these 3 things. They did not have justice, they did not have peace, they did not have any dignity. So they were suffering a lot. But today this time is changed, and today they have these 3 things. So Nelson Mandela says the victory of these 3 things, and he says it common victory because it was not only for black peoples and it was not only for white peoples. It was a common victory for everyone. And after that he says that he believed to the people that they will not suffer from poverty. poverty, deprivation, suffering, gender and other discrimination. Now understand these 5 words: poverty, deprivation, suffering, gender and other discrimination. At first, poverty because we all know that African peoples were very poor. Sometimes they did not have anything to eat. The second is deprivation. Deprivation means there are some things, there are some privileges, there are some rights which only the white peoples have. The black peoples, mean the South African black skin peoples, did not have anything, so they were suffering from deprivation. And the third thing is suffering. They were not suffering from a few things, they were suffering from everything. Everything was they were facing every problem in their life. And the fourth thing is gender. There was not only the difference basis on the skin color, there was also the difference basis on the gender, means there was the difference on between the men's and women's. And the last thing is the other discrimination, means the every type of differences. So Nelson Mandela says that after this time no one will be suffer from these 5 things, means everyone will be happy in my country. And he says that never my country will be experience the oppression of one by another, means now no one will be oppress someone, means no one will be यहाँ पे अब कोई भी मेरे नेल्सन मंडेला कहते हैं कि मेरे देश के अंदर कोई भी एक व्यक्ति दूसरे व्यक्ति का दमन नहीं करेगा. एंड द सन ऑफ दिस डेमोक्रेसी विल नेवर सेट ऑफ. और ये जो लोकतंत्र का एक सूर्य आज उगा है, इसका कभी भी अस्त नहीं होगा, यानी हमेशा ये यूं ही रोशनी देता रहेगा और डेमोक्रेसी है वो यूं ही बनी रहेगी. And he also says thanks to all the dignitaries who came into their function to celebrate the happiness of that newborn liberty. और अंत में वो जितने भी मेहमान उस सभा में आए हुए थे उन सभी को धन्यवाद कहते हैं नेल्सन मंडेला. Now Nelson Mandela says that we all were surprised to see a spectacular era, that the helicopters and the jet planes were making a beautiful shapes like a V shape from the color red, green, blue and gold color, and they were making it too beautiful. And the most important thing is that they were not making it for any show, for any formality. They were showing their loyalty towards the democracy, towards the democratic government which was elected freely and fairly. And after that, Nelson Mandela says that the highest general of South African Defence Force, he saluted Nelson Mandela, and then Nelson Mandela recalled a scene that there was a time when he did not salute him but he arrested Nelson Mandela. And after that Nelson Mandela slowly recalled the whole history. He says about the first decade of 20th century when he was not born, and after it was the time of after Anglo Wars, few times after Anglo Wars. And he says that in this time the white peoples has patched up with one another and they make a harshest and most inhuman system against the black peoples in South Africa. And then Nelson Mandela says about that this system continues till the last decade of 20th century, and this last decade of 20th century was his own 8th decade as a man. And Nelson Mandela says that in this time this system was completely changed, and this system was changed means the peoples have the same rights and the same freedom. Then Nelson Mandela says that this all was happened only from the bravery of our African patriots. I did not do anything. This all was only possible from those patriots. Their bravery brought this day. And then Nelson Mandela says that I am nothing. I am only the sum of those all African patriots, and they all worked hard. Then Nelson Mandela says the most beautiful line of this whole chapter of this whole book, that when a people was suffered, when he was suffered from the extraordinary human disaster, most inhuman system, most harshest system, then these all things create a man with the excellent behavior, with the excellent character. Means when they all were suffered from these all problems, then they understand everything, they understand the feelings, they understand the happiness, sadness, everything, and their behavior become the excellent, their character become the excellent. And in the after that Nelson Mandela also tells about his country, that his land has the many minerals and many things which can make him rich, but his real property is his pupils, because he understands what is courage from his people. He say the definition, he say that I saw many times the men and women of my country, they risk their life and they give their life for the ideas of freedom. And he says that what is the courage I understand from my pupils. The courage is not the absence of fear, the courage is the victory over the fear. And he says that if you don't have any fear, it means you are not brave, but if you conquer over fear, means you are the brave person. And then Nelson Mandela says that scene of his prison, when Nelson Mandela went to prison for 30 years, and he says, he explains the scene of his prison, that when he was prison and he was spending his harshest time of his life, then Nelson Mandela says that he saw a glimpse of humanity in a guard of this of that prison, and it was enough for him to continue his war. Then Nelson Mandela says that a person, when he born, he did not hate anyone, but he learned these all things from his society. And if a man can learn hating from society, then he can also learn loving from society, because the love is more natural than the hate. And after that, Nelson Mandela describes the obligations. He says that a normal person have two obligations: the first towards his family, toward his brother, sister, parents, these all, and the second is toward his country, toward his community, and toward his society. And he says that every person tries his best to complete their obligations, but he says that if a person born in South Africa with a black colored skin, then he did not have any freedom to do these all obligations, means he can't do these all obligations, because if he try to, he is isolated and he is punished. So they were very suffering from these all. Then Nelson Mandela says that when I was a student, I was a small children in my childhood, I did not have any freedom, I did not have any hunger for freedom, because according to me I have many freedoms. I have freedom to run in the fields of nearby my mother's hunt. I have the freedom to play in the streets of my village. I have the freedom to swim. I have all freedoms. But after that, when he became a student, then he realized that these all freedoms was just an illusion. He did not have any freedom. Then he started a hunger for freedom for him, and he wanted to do everything according to him. He wanted to go where he wanted to read what he wanted to do everything according to him. And then after that, when he went to Johannesburg, then this definition was also changed for him. He wanted to achieve everything which he deserved. He wanted to marry a person whom he wanted, and so these all things were completely changed for him. And then it became a very hard hunger for Nelson Mandela of freedom. And then Nelson Mandela says that this was not only my situation, this was the situation of my thousands and lakhs brothers and sisters. And after that, Nelson Mandela formed the ANC, African National Congress, and we all know that this party get 252 seats, and after that Nelson Mandela became president. But this party changed a coward man into a brave man, a low-bidding man into a criminal, a family-loving man into a without family man, and this changed a life-loving man into a monk. And after that, he said that when I have some freedom, I did not enjoy it. How can I enjoy? Because my other brothers and sisters, they have freedom, but they can't enjoy it. So I can also did not enjoy them. And then he said that the chain on my peoples, the chain on my country, the chain on my brothers and sisters is the chain on me. If my peoples are suffering, then I am also suffering from the freedom. And then he started fighting for the freedom. And in the last, he also says that the oppression and the oppressed, these two people did not have freedom. We think that only the oppressed people did not have freedom, but the oppressor, he is also not free. He also did not have any type of freedom. And in the last, I would like to say you all thanks to giving me this chance to introduce a great leader of South Africa, Nelson Mandela. Thank you.